next person, Sean, he writes in saying that he can't stop identifying with the body mind, and he needs your guidance on this, how to stop identifying with it.
Well, he stops every night when he goes to sleep. Isn't it? And it's not true that you say you cannot stop identifying with it. It's not true. Many periods of time in the day, you forget about yourself. When you forget about yourself, there's no body mind. By nature, nature's grace, you forget about yourself. Can you imagine if you had to always remember this self? You'll be completely knackered. You wouldn't get out of bed. It's only because you can forget about yourself, meaning forget about your identity as being a particular person, and that arrogance and the pride of it, and that brings in the molestation of thought. You see, so this is what in the end, most people, they harm themselves, they torture themselves, they commit suicide because they can't control their projections, you see. The mind becomes so loud, it says so loud. So when the mind goes jump, you have to jump, you have to obey even, you see. This is how bad it can get. And who is doing this obeying? It's the consciousness combining itself with the conditioning and the identity that I'm the body and the mind. And this causes all the trouble in the world. So, during the day, many times you forget. And when you forget yourself, there's just pure perceiving. There's a spontaneity and intuitiveness about your presence and movement. You're not self-conscious in the sort of egoic sense of self-consciousness. You're very unself-conscious, which means that you're truly self-conscious in the correct way. You see? That he says something more?
Yeah.
So he's only one to say that when as he's always conscious of his identity.
He just says that he can't stop identifying with body mind. And that's it. Maybe he's not aware of those moments where he's not identifying with body mind.
Well, you know, the thing is not to be afraid of the body mind. It is to be aware of the body mind. You see? You can be afraid of the body mind, or you can just be aware of it. Once you start to be aware of something, there's a distance. You see? When you identify with it, there's no distance. But when you are aware of it, it means that you can observe it. You're aware of its presence. You're aware that it came up. That means that it was not there, it's not consistent. It arose. And so you're aware that you cannot be that, it's a movement. But because you keep on believing and identifying with it so quickly, there's no chance to really take the full breath of what that distance gives you. And so it's not so difficult. If he put the attention more upon first the fact that he's aware of that, of the body-mind energy, and find out, but if I'm aware of that, what can I be? Can I be that or something different from that? And if I am not the body-mind play, but the witnessing of it, then who am I as the witness of it? You see? And don't embrace this question intellectually. Look towards this question like a life and death question. Meaning, don't keep picking up another question. Stay with this question. First, be confirmed. I can perceive that. It is very persistent thought that I am the body-mind and there's a me. But the very fact that there's an awareness of that exposes that that cannot really be what is, because there's the observing of it, there's the watching of that. I notice that feeling. So there's already a distinction. There's already space. So rather than go into what you're watching, look at what is watching. And I want someone to really take me up on this and really put it, put this into a real an exercise of looking, because something has to twist. It cannot be that you're just the body mind. If this world was full of only body mind entities, then it's already finished. It's already hell. It's hell already. But because there's a possibility in the human consciousness to go beyond that, meaning that to go beyond means not to go out there, but to go means to come beyond. I should not say to go beyond, I should say to come beyond that identity. Because you are already there. Even the most ignorant person, they say, oh, I think I'm going mad. It means that I am aware of madness. I cannot be the madness. But if you believe and identify that you are the madness, it will become your experience. You will not know anything more. And if you really feel this is all there is to you, then no wonder you're going to do something bad. If you feel that intrinsically I am bad, then you are going to do something bad. But if you begin to see that some energy is playing in this body somehow, for whatever reason, and it is somehow duplicating me. It's almost as though it is an imposter energy, because it appears to be what I am. But there is enough light for me to recognize, but really it is not true. It is a voice, it's a belief, it's a thought. And therefore, a thought cannot exist by itself. It can only have power when it connects up with belief. It's like one hand trying to clap. You cannot clap. You see, you have to, so one hand is the thought coming and the other one is the belief in the thought. And then somehow they ignite, they combust somehow. And then out of that comes a belief. It becomes another action or something, you see. So the mind is maybe the thoughts are coming like this. And there's a kind of innocence in that, because really and truly there's no sentience in mind. You see, what it means is that the mind is not independent. It's not independent. It's that there's no light coming from the moon. You understand? It's not coming from inside the moon. It's a reflection that's coming from the sun. The moonlight is actually sunlight being reflected from the surface of the moon, isn't it? And the mind is the same thing. The mind has no sentience. It is only the reflection that's rising from the heart sentience, from your own self. But because of the belief in that, the belief gives it a sense of autonomy and life, like it exists by itself, but it doesn't. And the minute you begin to see this, the mind is not thinking itself. It's simply an energy arising out of your being as thought. It's not just dead energy. There is something, because the mind is also consciousness. The mind is also consciousness. But it's not independent consciousness. You see, it's connected with consciousness. But it's not the seat of the sentience. It's not the seat of the existence. It's a borrowed existence. And it's only reflecting back something that is playing with it.